I'm starting to think that this is probably going to be a 2-0. We'll see as things get ready to get started. Finally, the delay is done. Everything's fixed, and the match is live.
Wow, I like that aggression from David B. He pushes forward, a couple of dink shots, and then confidently grabs the orb. That'll give him another point towards the resurrection. And already the swing from Petitek. He'll take out his alter ego Eccles. They're trying to get this spike down on the A site, but so far it's G2 that are able to push them back, and it's just down to one final player here. Solkis on the raise. He's got the spike in hand, but unfortunately all his friends are dead. He's the last one standing, and he's heading over towards that B site.
Solkis may have had a great game yesterday on Bind against Nip, but a 1-on-5, pretty difficult scenario. He does have Spike, and he's over towards B. Everyone else over on this A site, there's a Cypher Cam watching for the lurk in case he comes through spawn, but they hear the nade go off. He does not feel safe, so he hasn't yet dedicated to the Spike plant. But he will be able to get it free and clear inside the tuna can as the boombot goes out. Nope, here's the footsteps. Takes the first fight, wins it, and then rededicates himself to that spike plant. The pulse is coming out from the recon dart, not giving away his position, but there's targets everywhere. There's the jump peak coming through. So at least they do end up getting a spike plant and 1 kill. Because up until that moment, it was a disastrous round for fish123.
Yeah. That's the difference between 1,900 credits and 2,200 credits. So at the bare minimum, overall, the attack will get something for their troubles. And as we are now seeing, they're flirting around with the idea of a force-up 2 Spectres on the side of Lincoln Cryptics. We'll see if they commit to it as a whole. Armor coming in as well. That's as well. Eccles coming through with the Spectre. So they're looking to try to take this to the bank against G2. But Bach, we've seen that before. Win or lose, it feels like fish123 forced the issue on these second round buys. We'll see if G2 is expecting this, if they read this with VOD review. And as the preparation starts off for fish123, it's looking like a split towards the B and the A site.
Aldrone moving in mid, spots out the Sage initially. Fish123 doesn't look to be bringing a whole lot into the round. You can see the rifles already equipped here for a few. The T-Tech's gone to the Bulldog, but there's SMGs on a couple as well. Standard second round loadout coming in from G2. Right now the Spike's back on short. And fish123 is mostly grouped up there. They're using the Aldrone to lead the charge into Hookah, but there's no one in Hookah right now. They're playing back a little bit further, and it looks like they're just making noise there to try and bait them into a rotate. But G2's been playing a 3-player hold over on B, and with this long push coming out from Artis and the Sage, they're getting a lot of information. There's that first peek coming in from Petitek that will also give away a little bit more intel. They'll start to rotate over. What they don't realize is there's going to be a pinch. Great paranoia coming in from Petitek to slow things down. Counter paranoia coming out, but it doesn't quite connect. Petitek has to back off as the nades are coming through. Yikes, that's tough to get away from Solkis peaks as the nade detonates, and it will be site control here for fish123.
Yep, we'll see a couple of those shots start to ring from Mixwell, but it's Artis from behind stealing that frag onto Eccles. It's still 4 strong here for fish123. They got to start that retake. Pith alongside Scream are trying to divide and conquer as they push in through lamps. The slow orb will make it difficult for Solkis to get out of here. They're just trying to get a little bit more athletic. Pith, a great slow swing through the orb, and they will just decimate one at a time, player after player, in fish123's force up. Not really going their way, as they'll get that spike defused. Mixwell getting another point for his Blade Storm, and that's a 2-0 start here for G2.
It was weird too because I think there was 1 or 2 players that were still on pistols, so they didn't like fully commit. Would have loved to see them maybe slow themselves down just a bit. They're going to be forced to obviously go down to pistols and a little bit of armor here as well. Whoever's going to be carrying that off, Eccles likely to be saving as much as he can, but you can see Lincoln Cryptics feeling comfortable with Sheriff Light Armor. Solkis is going to match that as well. Scream, for a second, thought, hey guys, I'll get the Guardian. But then he looks at his cash afterwards, realizes it's not going to be the right play.
Yeah.
So G2 is going to get off to that potential 3-0, assuming they don't fall to the pistols that are moving up in mid currently. David P's right around the corner with the Phantom, kindly holding this crack shot, just peeking, and once he gets that intel, he's just going to fall off, maybe wall that off. Decides to actually jump out and reposition towards long. They do have 2 players over here currently on the B site, with one starting to rotate over, so they don't have that standard 3-player B defense that we've seen from other teams when it comes to bind.
Well, we did see Artis pull over. He has kind of joined his team, thinking it might be the B push. So far, the correct read, but fish123 are just kind of hovering around, moving on to the actual round at hand. You know, talking about some of these shares, it's really only NIP that we've seen make those shares work. Yesterday, they were winning rounds that theoretically they should not have been. As David P opens up the frag onto Cryptics, the dry peak not really going to work out for fish123, and it's just down to the 4v5. You know, I really want someone to put together the statistics. I might even have a look at this myself. How many rounds have fish123 won on the second round force-up after they lose the pistol? Because if it hasn't been working, if that win rate is below 50%, then why not just like suck up the pistol and go on rifles for that third round and have a better chance? Because now they're just bleeding 3 pretty much for free. But we'll see if they're able to get any of these sneaky little picks. David P from behind, a great lurk through hookah. He'll just spray them all. Link will find one onto Pith, but it's just down to the last and final player in hookah. It's Eccles, and he'll be taken out.
So the round doesn't really work out well there for fish123. It's, I mean, basically what one would anticipate given what they brought in. This is that big round, though. They're coming in with a lot of the rifles. They're not going to have the AWP, so they're not going to be able to match against Mixwell in the one-on-one AWP duel. We did mention it coming into the series. It was going to be a battle between Eccles and Mixwell with the operator. And the question was whether or not Eccles can actually win that one-on-one exchange. Should the ops collide, who comes out on top? And in my mind, it feels like it's Mixwell, especially with him playing the Jet. Feels like he has an agent that is just more equipped for that type of play. Mixwell gets across, yeah, and the wall comes through and he has to dash back after being spotted out early. So changes positions, no shots coming out early from Mixwell despite the aggression.
fish123 looking towards the A site now, and that Stampede tells us they are looking to execute relatively soon. It's a lot of utility used back a site and towards A short from both sides of the attack and the defense. But it's Sulcus that wants to get a little bit more involved. That's the showstopper. It'll find its mark onto Artis. And now 4 remain for G2. The defense have arrived. The wall is up. The spike is down. And now it is up to G2 to get that retake underway.
Oh, you've got one holding the showers. Omen gonna take out Link. You still got the Jet Mixwell on site. David P taking out one through the cyber cage. Gonna find another as well as he walks into the ice, slowly inching towards the U-Haul, where you've currently got the Sage going through and a great paranoia coming out to blind him. It's all up to Eccles in the one-on-many. Managed to take it down to 2, but gets dropped by David P in the end, who has another strong round here for G2, something that we've seen from him time and time again. In that clutch position, picking up multi-kill rounds, David P stepping up and matching the performance of all the official members of G2. G2, I saw you in chat. It's time.
You know what I find interesting? Yeah. You know what I find interesting? This is, of course, fish123's map pick. What are the odds that there's a 50% chance that the decider ends up being Haven, a map that fish123 like to go on and have been picking as their comfort pick, as their home map, as Tom likes to say, instead of Split? So I find that quite hilarious that fish123 kind of gets sent to the lifeline if it ends up going to that third map. So far, if we were to base it off of the first 4 rounds, not looking like it'll be the case. G2 has had such a strong start here. Of course, we've only had, 1 gun round, 2 gun rounds. Hasn't really had a lot of space for fish123 to show us what they're capable of, and the fact that we're on another pistol looks like it's going to be another round for G2.
Oh my gosh, the Sage Wall. It's a gamble, and the peak does not work out well. We were just singing praises of David P, but the aggression results in his immediate death. The ult coming out, though, the Hunter's Fury. He leaps up into the sky. The pulse is going to connect, actually hitting multiple targets. They try to push up quicker as Pith had a dart in his belly giving away his position, and they will end up hitting that shot, but it's down to 2. It'll be the Omen and the Sova trying to work their way through on B long. Artis in sight inside the tuna can, using the dark cover as a bit of cover, and yeah, Eccles goes for the port inside that smoke, and Artis is just there waiting for him with the spike in his possession. The last remaining player is very low on HP over towards Octagon. Mixwell wants it very badly, but can't quite get it in time as Petite Tech is there with the Omen to take things now to a 5-0 scoreline. G2 looking really good off the start. This is kind of what we anticipated. Even though fish123 played really well yesterday on Bind against NIP, it just feels like G2 is a completely different caliber of opponent.
Yeah, we are looking at a gun round for fish123. So if there is a round they win, it's got to be this one. You can't let G2 have a 6-0 start on the defensive side of Bind. Bind, of course, for those of you that may be new to Valorant or watching this esport, this game for the first time, Bind is probably the closest map when it comes to being attacker or defender sided. As we see an engagement from Petite Tech, that'll be a quick res onto Link as the trade there is good. But still, it's the 4v5 and G2. They just lost a member with an aggressive push.
Pith smoked out in heaven. Link's going to use that Owl drone to get intel on the site. Cryptics with a quick pick off onto Mixwell. And now they've got some site control. Artis is still here. He's over in U-Haul using shock darts to try and slow things down. Pith behind the smoke ends up putting a camera out. Well, at least get some intel, but the camera taken down almost immediately by Eccles. Eccles has to change positions. And the spray through the wall almost takes him out. He's very low on HP. Artis is still here in U-Haul, still being a problem. David P goes wide with the peak. Cryptics gets another on the round. Pith will chime in finally with the Phantom from Heaven, sending the rays flying to the netherworld, but it's Artis who has to come up big. He's very low on HP, just 27 remaining, and he's got a 1-on-3. One target is low, but the Sage goes with the wall to his right. All they have to do now is time the peaks out from Shower, and this round is all but unwinnable, so Artis decides to bail out. Going to save that weapon and bring it in the next round. Fish123 finally get themselves on the board.
This is a round that they needed to win, to be quite honest. You know, moving on round by round, starting to really bleed them out to G2. They'll put one on the board. To be quite honest, on the side of G2, I don't think they can really sweat too much. Yeah, that's fine. We'll give them a round. But they need to start being a little bit more cautious about their economy. They just lost pretty much all of their weaponry. Artis, of course, the only one surviving with the Phantom. They will be able to buy up, but that economy is not looking great across the board. Yes, Petite Tech and Artis, they're fine. They'll be okay, but it's the rest of the team that I'm starting to worry about. That was just 1,900 credits that came your way. You're guaranteed at least 2,400, but that's not going to be enough for everyone to buy in the following round. So pretty important that they continue their hold and continue not letting fish123 into these sites, but that was a great push in that previous round.
Can they do it again? Can they find a couple of rounds in a row? Artis has to be careful as there's a couple of targets around the corner, but they don't push through. The Owl drone will spot out the first one inside the dark cover. So that'll keep them back just a bit. The Raze was there to help with the backup. Artis is going to have to fall out of hookah as the nade comes through and does a little bit of damage. But he escapes for the most part unharmed, only down to 88, but it does strip a significant portion of his armor. Recon Dart not giving him any intel right now. There are a lot of bodies built up outside of hookah. There's also two in Showers currently lurking over on the A site, the Omen and the Cypher. Solkis goes in first with the Owl drone right in front. Shots from the left, and they still haven't decided to back off until just now. So at 40 seconds left, they start to rotate around towards the A site. And they've done what they wanted to do. They pulled a player off of the A-site defense. There's only one here. It's Mixwell. So when the push comes through, it's going to be quite difficult, especially as they have that Omen port available.
Oh, I like that move from the Recon Bolt. He gets out of position and manages to find the frag. It's Eccles that goes down. The in-game leader, no longer a part of the conversation, but can he call from beyond the grave? The rest of the team starting to funnel in to get that spike down with just 10 seconds left. Imagine if there was an orbital strike right about now. That spike would not be going down. Pith will find one. It's just down to 3 for the side of fish123, and they are not looking so good here. Mixwell trying to find an opportunity. Thought he saw somebody up there on the box with the boost. It's the Sage. And now G2 will start to funnel in Soulcast in very deep water here as he'll be taken out, but Scream manages to survive long enough to find a 3K. It's all up to Link. David P with the classic of all weapons will take out the Sova player. And now G2 give us a 6-1 scoreline, a 5-round lead. Fish123, that one's gotta hurt.
Despite the fact that there was only one defender on the site, it was Mixwell with the op, so that's exactly who you want. Eccles had the ult available. I thought maybe we'd see at least an intel ult into the site, maybe towards heaven, try to spot something out, but we don't get it. So he just dry peeks in from showers. The paranoia hadn't had a chance to actually funnel all the way towards the back end of sight. So Mixwell gets a shot, and then the paranoia hits. So he's flashed after the fact. And that gives ample time for the rest of his team to try to get in position because the other target in showers didn't want to peek. It was Cryptix, who was just hiding in the corner, afraid to challenge that op, which is what we talked about. Who's going to be able to stop Mixwell? Yeah, right now his numbers aren't that great. It's the Omen who's carrying the scoreboard. But impact. It's all about impact. And it's only a matter of time before Mixwell has some ridiculous round and just picks off one after the other. We've seen it at times from G2, even specifically on this map, shots through smokes because of recon darts that were sent out from Artis. But right now our eyes are on David P as he goes for the peek into the ice. Solkis will go down, and there is no res available for fish123, so they'll be working with a disadvantage.
I think they used it last round too, if I'm not mistaken, which means that it's going to be not available for quite some time. David P gets into a little bit of an engagement. Patitek that is there to try to defend the push in from Hookah. Still, fish123 held up in this bottleneck of B short. While on the opposite side, we do see Eccles getting a little bit more involved on that A side. A couple of trades here. Artis is ready for that push into lamps from Eccles, and somehow he's already rotated over towards the A side. I like that call. Quick moving from B all the way over to A after an early pick in the middle. It's just down to 2 for fish123. They've got the weapons available, but really, how much longer will they survive? Patitek, he sees the barrel of the gun. Wait, did he not see that there? I swear it peeked out through. And now seeing that cyber cage, that'll give the confirmation that someone is there. Someone is lurking around in Hookah. Both 2 members remaining. It's going to be very difficult for fish123 to break open onto this site.
Cage triggered.
They're trying to make their way out. Cryptix will fall first. Scream now on the other side of the cyber cage, just trying to spam away. But not going to connect. Actually, as he goes for an escape route, tagged down and realizing the round is over. So he's going to throw the wall up and then just wait on the other side and then probably go for a last-minute port across the map once the pressure comes through, and that's exactly what ends up happening. He's going to try and hold for this one. We'll see if they actually decide to challenge. They're currently just sitting right outside of it. Maybe a late port coming in? No, not going to happen. So it will be yet another round for G2, and it all starts here with that aggression from David P. Artis picks off Eccles over on the A site. It just feels like time and time again, it's G2 just picking them off first, finding that early opener and punishing fish123, forcing them to use a 4-on-5 or even a 3-on-5 at times.
You know, I talked a little bit about it. 3 members from the side of G2 have significantly higher first bloods per round than really anyone on the side of fish123. The only one that can really compete is Scream. And we've seen how deadly Scream can be, but when you're dealing against 3 thirsty fraggers that are looking for those opening picks, what do? Really, you know? You try to smoke off, you try to blind your opposition from pushing forward, you try to make them feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you really have to actually use the utility to make them feel uncomfortable. Like, how are they pushing forward into B short and finding opening picks? Like, that should not be happening, or rather, fish123 should not let that be happening.
Artis again inside Hookah, playing right around the corner, hoping to survive, but just taken out through the box. They've seen him do it just far too many times. There's one inside the tuna can as well. That's Mixwell going down, doesn't even get a peek out. So it's up to Pith, who's around the corner, and they just blew the wall trying to get over top of the cyber cage, but Pith gets nothing. So now it's down to 2, a promising look right now from fish123 as they've made their way onto the site. What can they do, though? It comes down to 1. It's Patitek coming in from spawn. A quick shot onto Solkis through the wall. A dink and a follow-up, actually. Scream there with the 3rd on the round. Scream starting to pick up his performance just a bit to try to boost fish123 to a better scoreline in this first half. But G2 has already guaranteed the lead at half with 7 rounds on the scoreboard. And I just don't see it slowing down unless fish123 drastically change the way they're approaching attack.
Yeah, I'd love to see the economy right now, considering we are nearing the end. And G2, they're just kind of hanging on by a thread, so they need at least a round or 2 if they want to stay afloat for some of these last and final rounds. But weaponry aside, look at those ultimates. There's 9 available. Unfortunately for G2, David P not having that resurrection, but you can imagine he may be soon because he used it a couple of rounds ago. So there's a lot available for both teams, and we might see a lot of that starts to come through here, or maybe the next round, or maybe the next. There aren't too many left, so expect a lot of craziness to really start to come through Pathetic. But look at this aggression from G2 if it's not Artis, if it's not David P, it's someone else pushing forward and trying to find early picks. And it scares fish123. That's 3 members in the Wishbone saying, how do we even get out of our own spawn without G2 trying to peek us?
What's wild right now is you have 9 ults currently available. There's a lot that could happen in this round. Fish123 have so much at their disposal when it comes time for that take. And they're currently moving towards the B site, and this would be the right move. You've only got the Sage here. Sova started to rotate out of position, so it's up to David P. as Artis has backed off. There's the ult being popped by Artis for the time being, going a little bit vertical as he pops the Hunter's Fury, but won't actually take anybody out. David P using an aggressive wall. We've seen this time and time again from David P. Loses track of his target inside the smoke, so can't quite connect. But look at this, Mixwell coming in. Shock Dart as well is there. It's down to 2. Fish123 went for the push on B, but it hasn't worked out well for them at all. Echo's going to go for the spike plant on site. Eccles, though, has Mixwell right around the corner. At least Cryptix was able to take him out before that would be a threat, but with the paranoia still active, he goes inside the tuna can and just cannot survive. 1 fatality on the round for G2. These are the types of rounds that we're seeing from them as they are consistently stomping out push after push from Fish123.
You know, I'm really starting to think, what is going on with Fish123? That's really what's crossing my mind. You talk about tournaments, some of them can go all day long, and the stamina really starts to play a factor. This is a brand new day, and all you're playing is a best of 3. Many different opportunities to wake up on the right side of the bed, have a great morning, get some good sleep, get some VOD review from the day before. There's lots of time for Fish123 to get prepared for this match. And G2, in some of these instances, they're just peeking. They're just dry peeking and finding open frags. There are times where Fish123, they break open onto a site, the utility works out for them. But even in that push on towards that B site, David P was like, I've got the cross. Don't worry, if they push in, I'll find 1, I'll find 2. And then when they're looking at David P, all of a sudden, the rest of the team comes in for the crossfire. So Fish123 need to be very careful, but let's see how this push towards A works out.
Oh no, the timing. That smoke starts to fade. The paranoia, though, going to bail him out as PattyTech again inside the showers this time, locking down that portion of the map. The Rays in sight did go for the showstopper. Doesn't really make too much of a difference on the push. Nice shock dart coming out towards Heaven. That'll bring Pith a little bit lower. There's the ult being pumped as well as they know the res came through. Does it take anyone out? No. Link. Actually, yes. Link hits the double pulse onto Mixwell. A peek in towards spawn from Scream. Almost worked on Artis, but he was ready for that and waiting. Great damage dealt. Shock dart in to finish off the last bit of HP remaining. But the spike is currently inside showers, and the attack is a little bit leery of moving into that position. There's David P now coming up from short and bringing things all down to Link. The Sova, we talked about it, not necessarily an agent he feels as comfortable with as he does the Sage. How does that affect his play here in the 1v3?
Yeah, may want to just save the weapon. There aren't too many rounds left. In fact, I think the next round is the last and final round. He gets tagged by the camera. They know exactly where he is, trying to push forward. You will find 1, but unfortunately that clip runs dry, and David P takes advantage of that opportunity. 9-2. You can see a 10-2 now at this point. I'd love to look at the scoreboard one last final time before we move on to that second half and see really where are Fish123 as it regards. But looking at this play for Tidek, just a great counter paranoia to the paranoia thrown out by Eccles, and just great overall play from the side of G2. Now, their economy is in great shape. They likely have the weaponry to play. But if we have a look over on Fish123, we'll really find out what they're working with and if it's even possible to give us a 9-3 half.
PattyTech right now having an absolutely ridiculous game coming in for G2. Fantastic performance thus far. Eccles, the opposite Omen, struggling at times in that Omen role, has a lot on his plate, being the IGL and the operator player and the Omen. Just a lot of responsibility there. David P went a little bit aggressive with the peek initially, and he gets taken out. Eccles is back sight, and now he's trying to punish as well. There's still one here in position who is Mixwell towards spawn as well, trying to offer up some support, but now it comes down to the man we were just praising, the Omen. A 1-on-5, a third round looking likely here for Fish123. So sure, they end the half with an exclamation point, but for the most part, it's been a dull first half for fish123. They desperately need to pick up that pistol in that second half. As he goes for the peak, first one's going to be his, but obviously the trade is there. So fish123, they cap it off, they make that 9-3, but the 16-6 performance coming in from Tech here in the first half, just absurd.
Yeah, on the opposite side, though, it is Mixwell, who's not really doing a whole good job there.
But he doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to. You're right. He doesn't need to. And so I do want to commend the observers. We found a small little fix to the bug. If you hold the scoreboard in transition from the first half to the second, there's a chance. It's like a 50-50 chance that it works out. And thankfully, it works out here for the grand finals. Would you look at that, Bach? Would you look at that?
Gotta love it. Just continue, please. Fingers crossed. I do love the fact that at least it fixes in overtime. So there's that. So yeah. Fingers crossed that will be a thing for us throughout the day. Pistol round, ever so important for fish123. We'll see how they can turn things around here. You do worry when you have players like Mixwell and David P on the attack, a player who plays the aggressive Sage quite well. Scream right around the corner, sees that cyber cage come through, tries to fire away on the other side of it, has to dive bomb the box. Mixwell won't allow him, doesn't even see his feet touch the ground. The spike does get planted, significant nade damage coming in from the Rays. Nice smoke from Mixwell to get him out of that position and into a more safe and comfortable spot in the U-Haul. A 5-on-4. But you can see the damage dealt. Sova's on about half HP. Omen very, very close to death. Solkis is going to send the Boombot in first, going right behind it. Nice Great paranoia coming out to slow them down. Mixwell will pick one off in the meantime. Another Paranoia coming out. This one working out nicely for fish123. Cryptix goes around the corner, and now it comes down to one. It comes down to Artis on site. Fantastic retake coming out from fish123 here in the pistol.
You know, will they have time, though? Oh, they don't! They win the duel, but they don't have time. That was a great stall from G2. A lot of utility used. I like the paranoia. Not only does it hit the player pushing forward through lamps, but I think it hits some of the players behind the player pushing in towards lamps. So they managed to stall, and they win the round. Oh, wow. And so now, while the colors may still be a little confusing, it is, of course, G2 on the attack and fish123 on the defense. It is, of course, going to be G2 that win the round. And that puts them at double digits. Bach, it's not looking so good here, but it's still the force up from fish123, something that we expect them to do. We'll see if it works out and pays off for them.
I mean, they naturally go with that because of the score being what it is and the fact that that round came down to what it did. We'll see if it produces success. Eccles right around the corner with the judge, and the armor's been stripped down a little bit, so has his HP. There's a shot coming in from sight. I think it was a Marshall. The body's right now building up towards B long, but it looks like they might be heading back towards spawn. Thought for a second we were going to see kind of a flirtation with B from B long, and then if they don't get their way into the site, they obviously go for the mass TP back to A. But instead, they're just going to run through spawn and through the wishbone back towards that A site. And right now, fish123 is slowly siphoning assets off the A site. But as I say that, they go for a 180. So 3 players now on the A site, the Cypher, Raze, and Sage. But we're seeing a recommitment from G2 towards B. So Eccles still going to be in hookah, still going to get challenged, drops off the box. Paranoia is perfect. They know he's around the corner, but it doesn't make a difference. The shotgun is so incredibly powerful. Speaking of shotguns, you've got Link here as well with the Bucky. One through the cyber cage looking for more. Great damage dealt. But now it's Eccles who has to step up. Oh, the dash out from the Jet working out nicely, but it's Cryptix who has survived the round with 3 kills coming in from fish123, stomping out the push before they could get site secured and spike planted. So fish123 survive yet again, and they continue to march forward with an attempted comeback.
So now that we are seeing, okay, usually we'll see the pistol, whoever wins it, they will force up. The team that loses it, they'll stick around on pistols. They won't even bother to force the issue. They'll wait for their first gun round that comes in on that 3rd round. fish123, almost every single second round we've seen them, win or lose, will force up and bring the issue towards the opposition. This time has worked out, and I wonder if teams start to read fish123, if If they just hold on to the pistols and then have a gun round on the third round and fish123 is in a weird economic position, I wonder if that's a great counter, but more theory crafting will have to kind of come of it. Mixwell, of course, has the Bladestorm available, looking to use it quite effectively here. Unfortunately, can't land those knives, and now having to get out of a sticky situation. It's the rest of the team that are trying to hold off these pushes coming in from all angles on that A side. Sulcus has got the Bulldog and now swaps places with Eccles, who's only got a Frenzy and a Marshall, but can't use the Marshall at close range. It's G2 that pull off. They'll find a Pith. Pith manages to escape too, and they'll start to hunt him down. But why? They've taken the connector. They're getting that spike down, and the B site is ready for the post plant.
How does G2 handle this one, though? The numbers working against them, just pistols in their possession. You've got Mixwell around the corner, low on HP, and Sulcus isn't having any of that. Sprays him down through the box. 25 HP for the Rays as he leaps out the window. Petitex here, and he's got 71 HP and a classic. First shot right on the money. Takes the second exchange. Obviously not going to go his direction when the Bulldog starts firing away. So the round will be fish123's. And they find their fifth. You have to ask yourself, can they actually do this? How long can they keep this fight up? Yeah. Will they be able to consistently prevent G2 from finding success in these rounds? This is going to be a big one, because this will be the first strong buy coming in from both teams, although it's going to be a little bit awkward. You can see there is no operator. David P's only on a pistol currently, so it's not exactly perfect for G2.
You know, if I'm David P here, do you really need the armor? I think they're anticipating picking up some weaponry from the defense, which of course they've got guns locked and loaded. A smoke here early in the middle. I'm going to assume that was Eccles just trying to block off the vision of them pushing forward. A slow orb as well to follow suit. You have to wonder if that was Scream delaying that push from B short. But it's still 3 committed towards this B site from the side of fish123. And on the opposite side for G2, Pith having a little bit more of like a lurking role as he's gathering information in the showers, maybe even going to grab that orb to boot, make a little noise, and G2, now they're ready for the push in. They'll start to hover in around Hookah as Mixwell gets aggressive. It's a wall to stop the push further from Scream, but they'll still get that spike down, and little do they know that wall actually helps G2 in the process. And now it's a weird retake. Echo's going to find one with the operator. That's going to be great, but that wasn't even on the B site. That was the A site, but it doesn't even matter as G2, they fall left and right, just down to David P, and he's on the retreat with the Ghost.
Yeah, that's going to be their round to take yet again, as G2 managed to find at least site control. David P is waiting around the corner. Sulcus will go for the peak. So it will be another round. It's about climbing their way back into this game one by one, step by step. They find these rounds. They're finding success. And the rounds are looking at least a little bit promising for them. That round from G2, again, we mentioned it, like the buy coming into it wasn't all that stellar. You know, they still had some players with light utility. So hopefully they'll be a little bit better at balancing out their cash flow. You can see Pith has bought down to 1,500. We talked about Mixwell struggling, but Pith has really been struggling. Currently sitting at 5 kills in this second half. We are 16 rounds deep going into round number 17. Not exactly the performance we expect to see. Petitex goes aggressive, has to drop the spike back behind him, and in that time, Scream gets into a better position and takes him out through the box, tries to go for the leap, but it doesn't really matter. Scream's found 3. Mixwell has to peek for the punish, and they brought it down to now 2 and upgraded to an operator. The Boombot going to give away the position there of Pith, but they knew he was present anyway. Almost blew up. Had he not had that operator available to him, would have been a little bit deadly. Right around the corner, there is the Rays, spotted by the camera, taken out immediately, naturally. What do they do, though? How do they readjust? The Aldrone goes in first. The Rays peeks behind it. And the Satchel Pack also going in towards Showers. Mixwell has not re-peeked off Cat, currently just holding back right now. Starting to move up closer to the A site, and again, the Rays has gotten into this corner right around the edge. It's going to be a difficult fight for Pith to take, as there's one in heaven as well, ready for the immediate trade, should he go for it.
Yeah, may want to save the operator too. Mixwell going to throw those smokes down, and as a result, that might be the cross that's trying to help the push forward. It's Sulcus who's there in the back corner now. As Pith swings, that operator will go back into the hands of fish123. They're catching up. 3 rounds separate these two teams, and G2 are struggling to find some credits that they can work with. Of course, fish123 had a little bit of a rough start in the first half. 9-3 was the scoreline, but now they're starting to catch up, and those rounds don't really matter anymore as that buffer is starting to close in. 4 rounds straight here for fish123, and it was all off of the back of that force-up on that second round after losing the pistol in such a weird way. But now we are seeing, on the side of G2, Operator from Mixwell, assault rifles across the board. This would be the round that G2 win if they were to win one of great importance.
You also have the AWP coming in from Eccles, and we talked about that AWP role, whether or not it was going to be a difficult battle for Eccles against Mixwell. To be honest, both players struggling. Eccles and Mixwell not really picking up the performance as the AWP role for either team. The rest of the team has obviously helped boost those performances up. There's the rocket pop coming out from Solcus, so that'll be Artis going out almost immediately. Now, they do have the res available on both sides. There's the boombot going in as well. The question is whether or not they can try and get that res through. So there's the res coming through, but they can't really peek freely on the back of that. Eccles does spot Mixwell as he was holding for the push to come through just in case they tried to stop that res from being a thing. So that Mixwell going down, Eccles immediately traded out. Pushing through is going to be Solcus, and he'll take out Pith. So now it comes down to 2 here for G2. It's David P, who's in the U-Haul, peeking wide, and it's down to 1 now. It's the hero who's been fantastic thus far at times. Petit Tech goes ahead and sends some utility towards the site, but then the slow orb makes it incredibly difficult for him to even get out of position. Yet again, stuck behind that box. He was spammed through it a few rounds ago. fish123 survived with all 5. So despite the amount of firepower brought into the round, like you mentioned from G2, it does not produce much success outside of a spike plan.
Yeah, and think about the repercussions of a flawless round. Nothing is going to be out of their hands. Those credits are just going to continue to roll. Yes, they're possibly going to buy some armor. They're going to buy some utility, but they don't need to buy a new assault rifle. They don't need to buy a new operator. And on the side of G2, it may be the force-up that they're looking for, or at least the soft buy to make sure that they've got credits, or at least enough credits for the round to follow. This could very well be 10-10 in a matter of rounds, and G2 really need to start thinking, how are we going to put a round or 2 or 3 to close out this map? Or is fish123 really going to catch up here on their map pick and take us to map number 2?
This is an impressive recovery from fish123 despite the early hiccups. Now, there is that ult lead-in from Mixwell. Cryptix goes back behind the double stack, but Mixwell's already made it into elbow. That's a nice shot coming out from Scream. They have to watch out for Mixwell, who's in position, but he doesn't get a chance to even send out one of those blades. The round is stomped out yet again as fish123 crushed the B push. A flawless round victory coming in for them on the defense. This went from being, hey, let's make this respectable, let's find some rounds, now like, hey, we got this. I was thinking, okay, like maybe they can fight back, maybe they can force OT. Now I'm thinking they could probably win this map. G2 looks completely flattened out on the attack. They just are not managing to get onto these sites with real solid post plants. Like they're getting onto sites. They've consistently been able to get spike plants. You can see that 3 defuses coming in from fish123. But how many times do we see a retake and it feels like fish123 just doesn't even struggle in those cases?
And in some of those spike plants, it feels kind of desperate. They're like down to 2, they'll get it down, but they don't have the man advantage to really do anything. But this is a great start for G2, their first man advantage on what I presume a soft buy, not even really having the weaponry to deal with. But that's a great opening. And now Scream picking up this operator. That's going to be a couple of these G2 members that have already pulled off the site. The execute was there. They brought the resources over for the side of fish123, but now they've got complete control of this B site. And the weaponry tells us it's not the eco. They're locked and loaded, and they want to make this round number 11.
Cast a curse. My bad. It happens, you know? It happens. Shock darts going in. As they get closer and closer to the site, Artis is going to send a high recon dart, trying to get that one in towards spawn. Starts to spray through as the recon dart gets taken out. His position's been spotted, but he's on the other side of the tuna can. Link comes through with the first kill. Another one coming in from Link, and hold on. fish123 have managed to make it a 2-on-3. David P is lurking around the back end of the play. First one will be his execution onto Solcus as well. And that's the round lost. Scream was too far disconnected from the play. Now he's got the operator as well. Doesn't want to give that one up. So G2 will find their 11th round, but fish123 had a small window where they were able to get back into that site, and you thought for a moment they were going to do it again.
So let's think about that round there. Fish123, it's down to Solkus, it's down to Link, and Scream, of course, rotating through. Solkus and Link, based on how the spike is planted, it's planted on top of the tuna can. So they're thinking, okay, they're playing long, they're playing Octagon, which is why you saw Scream push up through B short, maybe trying to see if anyone's there. But he's like, guys, there's no one there, or at least I don't see anyone there. And so David P and Patitek, they have the opportunity, a very small window, but they have the opportunity to flank through labs, and they do so masterfully. And unfortunately for Fish123, they just weren't expecting it. They were trying to read the situation based on where the spike was planted. So now moving on to this round, of course, Fish123 still have the economy to buy, but I think this is the last force-up that they can afford. We'll see how it opens up. Mixwell dry peaks, and that dry peak will not go his way.
Artist moving in to Hookah. There's one inside tuna can right now. It's a Cypher just playing with his camera. Spying out the angle, looking to spot him. Right now, the rest of the team, though, over on short, considering working towards the A side. You've got Solkus and U-Haul as the Rays. Holding this position right now, as now you'll see the rotate over from Artist. It will be a 4-player push up short. No one coming through from showers. Deep smoke coming out, but it's not exactly perfect. There's the camera as well. Solkus is right around this corner, ready to punish. He's got the nade as well. All he has to do is time it nicely, even though he has all that intel somehow, some way. Patitek is there as the Omen to punish. Scream wants to use his own wall to get some verticality to peer over the opposite Sage wall, try and find an angle, a line of sight towards the site. Instead, he'll end up falling to Pith. And the defense crumbles here on the A side. It's down to a 3-on-3 retake.
Oh, I like this from Patitek. Does he expect it? Oh, Cryptix had no idea. Oh, man, that smoke was so good. And he hit in it perfectly as it dissipated. They didn't even know each other existed until that point. Now it's just down to 2 for Fish123. Does feel like this could be map point for G2, but Eccles, he wants to be a part of the conversation. Down to the 2v2. That spike's ticking, but it's a great swing from David P. Eccles needs to get involved, but he's got the swing. It's not good. It's David P. He takes us to match point for G2.
He will end up dying, so he doesn't actually escape with the operator, which is, I guess, a little bit of a problem, but at this point, G2 is just thrilled to have gotten it to 12, because for a while, it was looking like, okay, this comeback is very real and very scary from Fish123. That said, you're still going to see a full buy come in from both teams. You still have the operator. It's in Mixwell's hand. The op there for Eccles. Again, even though both players have been very much lackluster, Eccles has actually put up a better performance than Mixwell, who's been very quiet on the map as the rest of the team has really done the heavy lifting. You still want to make sure you have that coming into the round. Deep recon dart out over on B long. David P leaping around the corner. And he'll make his way all the way up long, very far up on the push. You've got Scream playing currently in Hookah, putting the wall down a little bit further up than we typically see. The shots will come through, trying to chisel away at that ice. David P is in the octagon. Do they clear this corner with the Owl drone? No. So that could be a problem. The anticipation that there's no one there, and you can see it already works out well for David P. Immediately punished. So they lose the Sage, and they lose David P., which is also important as he's been a top performer for this team at times. Solkus in position, spotted out by the dart. Mixwell hits the quick shot. Eccles spotting out Patitek, who tries to get into that better position inside U-Haul, will bring it down to a 3-on-3.
That's going to be the shock dart, trying to clear it out, but unfortunately it does not go deep enough still. Like you said, it is the 3-on-3. They try to push in aggressively. Mixwell hopping into lamps. Pith, unfortunately, will be smoked off, and so this might be a lot of space that Fish123 gain. The paranoia to try to stop them from pushing forward. Here's the engagement. The spray's good from Artist. It's the quick trade. Mixwell needs to get out of there, but he hops right back in, gets domed right by Cryptix, and now it's just down to Pith. The swing is good. Now down to the 1v1. It's Link against Pith, and that's going to be the first spray, but it doesn't connect through the box. The clip is starting to run dry, and it's good! It's G2 that win the first map on Bind.
Pith, really good positioning as well there in that 1v1. Just a subtle shift to the left of that